We're born in the moonlight. Ain't no fantasy. Can't breathe in the sunlight.
Hello, Romas. This is Aromie here, and welcome back to Changeling. We're here with our vampire boys and our werewolf boy. We had a cut on our head because fucking Mark here started us and we headbanged our locker, which sounds very scary, by the way. Anyway, I was about to head to the library to find Milos. Yeah, I know it's hard, but just be patient. It's going to get sorted soon. It would be sooner if the agency wasn't being idiotic about the situation. Hey, you're preaching to the choir. I don't disagree with that, but the distrust between your community and the agency predates all this by a lot. That doesn't change the fact that pharaohs are definitely the culprits here, and they'd find them faster with our help. Wait, what exactly are pharaohs? The three of them shared a look. So help me, if you say it's not something I should worry about, I'm going to smack your heads together hard enough to swap your damn brains. All three of you. Mark was the one who spoke first. They are a type of infected vampire with a degenerative neurological disorder that stems from the vampire virus spiraling out of control. They completely lose their humanity, become animal-like, attack people indiscriminately. But the agency has its doubts that they're involved. They're incredibly rare, and the agency thinks there's evidence that there might be at least 2 killers on the loose right now. 2? The idea of there being 2 pharaohs here, it seems a bit hard to swallow, for them anyway. I mean, technically, that's kind of hard to believe too, in my point of view. But that is what's going on. Mark and I are pretty sure of it. How? The state of and location of the bodies, for one. They're not mutilated with weapons, but claws and teeth, not animal ones. I swallowed hard. I did not want to be thinking about mutilated people. But the agency disagrees, clearly. In their defense, the vampire community has used pharaohs as a scapegoat in the past to cover up the actions of some perfectly sane vampires who stepped out of line. Just because the average vampire wouldn't go around murdering people and mutilating their bodies doesn't mean there aren't criminals out there who would. In that regard, they're no different from humans, which again does not change the current situation. Most vampires, you'll notice, do not have claws. Most in their human forms. Look, I have every confidence you and Elliot are right, but there's no real evidence, and the agency isn't going to budge without it. I've been begging Milos to reinstate Elliot as an intern because suspending him is outright stupid. And by the way, he completely agrees, but his peers don't. He sighed. Mark, if your parents were here, I'm sure they would work this out. As it is, there is no one in your community the agency trusts enough to just listen to them, especially not with some of the history they have. It wouldn't be the first time a vampire in this town decided to. I am well aware of this history, Danny. I'm sorry. I know you are. Look, even if the agency needs some convincing, Mark and I can definitely find the evidence they need if we... No, I've told you already. Running around on your own is just going to cast more suspicion your way. Do you even know how it's going to look if you 2 get caught? Uh-oh. Danny... Oh, sorry. I was ringing Danny up here. Elliot, please, just wait. Wait for them to finish the investigation and find the culprits on their own. How many more agents do you think they'll need to sacrifice before that happens? Danny winced. You know as well as we do, the reason our community insists on handling the pharaohs ourselves is because we're best equipped to do so. They're not normal vampires, and the agency is never going to catch them if they keep treating this case as if the culprit is just a normal part of our community. If they would just back off and let us, they won't, and you know it. If not because they don't believe it's a pharaoh way, then because they want to get their hands on one for study. Pharaohs are like a dirty secret the agency has never gotten a good look at. Half the people I've talked to don't even think they're real. You've clearly been speaking with the wrong people. I'm not saying I agree with them, I'm saying the whole situation is just frustrating, to say the least. Look, I'm going to keep trying to talk to Milos, but please don't do anything stupid until then. Yeah, no stupid plans here. I'm serious. I know, okay, I know. Okay, I'll catch you later. He gave me an apologetic smile and waved as he headed into the library. Awkward, heavy silence descended on us. Well then. So those are the kind of conversations we were usually having when I wasn't around. That was pretty heavy stuff. I'd been wondering why Elliot was partnering up with Mark lately. I guess I can see why now. Multiple killers. No wonder Mark was so worried about people knowing he and Elliot were roaming around together after their curfew. Oh, I got you something. Elliot produced a cup with a plastic lid and handed it to me. To my surprise, it wasn't coffee. Hot chocolate! Yay! It seemed like it might be a chocolate kind of day. I snickered softly. It's that easy to tell. While I spent a few years with a single mom, I learned the signs. I see, your master has taught you well, young apprentice. He grinned and picked up his own cup. I took a careful sip, and thankfully it had cooled enough that I didn't scald my tongue. It was also quite good. Elliot, I've never asked you what you usually get. Just coffee. Anything in particular? Nothing fancy, really. Usually just Americano. I feel like that's a safe choice in for a lot of people. Americano. I've never had it. I'm not a big fan of coffee. Don't get me coffee, okay? Mark apparently is more of a tea drinker. I did not know that. Not that I ever especially cared for you to find out. I never especially wanted to find out either, to be honest. I mean, not that I particularly wanted to avoid finding out. I just never really cared either way. Thank you for that clarification. These two definitely don't get along, do they? In any case, I have heard coffee can stunt one's growth. Have you ever... No. Nope, my growth was not stunted. Don't even go there. Mark smirked at me and I resisted the very strong urge to kick him in the shin. Anyway, I was thinking about what you said in the hallway. Have you considered this sleepwalking habit? Oh shit. I don't think Elliot was gonna assume I was gonna tell Mark. Oh fuck. The sleepwalking habit of yours is related to you being Fae. Elliot shot me a confused look. I had insisted he stay quiet about it. I suppose he was probably wondering why I told Mark. After last night, he was suspicious. I shot him a glare. He insisted I tell him. So have you? Of course I have. I'm not stupid. I've even factored it into my research, but I haven't come up with anything. Elliot's been helping me look. Then I should help as well. That's not necessary. As I told Michiko previously, if something happens to her, it'll be bad for both of us. It would be better to have 3 heads working on this rather than just 2, especially considering that one of those 2 is yours. What's that supposed to mean? Oh my god, stop. I get it. If I die horribly, it'll be terribly inconvenienced you both. It'll terribly inconvenience you both. I'm trying to figure it out, okay? What exactly happens when you have one of these sleepwalking incidents? I don't know. I mean, I go to sleep in my bed like usual, and then at some point, I sort of become vaguely aware I'm asleep. But I can tell I'm not in bed. I can tell I'm moving around walking. It's usually cold, but everything is muffled. It's like being wrapped in a dark blanket or something. I can tell reality is out there, but I can't quite reach it. I can usually hear myself talking, muttering, though I'm not usually sure what I'm saying. It's almost like I'm just driven somehow to look for something or find something, but I don't know what I'm looking for. And then I just wake up all the way. That's it. Strange? You think? Come to think of it, I did hear you muttering to yourself that first night I saw you. I couldn't make out what you were saying either, though. It sounded almost like singing, or maybe a poem. Your research hasn't turned anything up thus far. If it had, I wouldn't be sitting here all confused about it, would I? I wouldn't be dealing with my stupid brother and school psychologist stalking me around either. I wouldn't be dealing with any of this. Well, hey, wait, school psychologist? Grant? What about him? You weren't aware that her brother has been dealing with him. Well, no. Mark sighed. This is why you're useless for helping with the situation. My twitch as I started up with the bickering again. Trying to tune them out, I reached into my bag for my journal. Oh, what? I picked the bag up and rifled through it, unable to find it. Did I leave it at home? I might have. I had been a bit scattered, all things considered. What's wrong? Oh, I think I just left my research journal at home. I was going to write down some stuff, but I guess I forgot it. Or maybe I put it in my locker by mistake earlier. Did you hit your head harder than I realized? No, thank you very much. What, you've never forgotten something at home by mistake? No, vampires have excellent memories. Of course they do. Our lifespans are rather long. We would be in trouble if we didn't have excellent memories. Well, excuse me, but I am just a mere mortal over here. It's okay, Michiko. Not all vampires have excellent memories. Just the superior ones, apparently. Can you two knock it off? Jeez. What topics have you been researching lately in regards to sleepwalking? Anything to do with fairies and sleepwalking, amnesia, or anything that seems similar? And you found nothing. I found one thing that mentioned amnesia and faint memories of hearing beautiful music. Nothing about sleepwalking, though, so I don't think it's related. What was the topic? If I recall, it was in relation to something called a crimble, which is a type of changeling. A changeling? What's that? It's when the Fae steal a human baby and raise it in fairy. In the baby's place, they put a fairy child that is then raised by the human family. In the case of crimbles, if the family is able to get their baby back, but What? If the family's able to get their baby back, they don't remember their time in fairy. They just have a faint memory of hearing music. But even though I do have some past memory loss and I have memories of music when I wake up, it doesn't really seem to have much other connection. Besides, if you're a changeling, that would mean that there's another Michiko somewhere. I suddenly remember what Spencer had said earlier about how I wasn't his real sister, as if he thought there was another Michiko somewhere, a real one. Elliot, whether by chance or some sort of coincidence, echoed what I was thinking. Well, the real Michiko, I guess, since you'd be... He trolled off before finishing that. I think the look on my face must have been a bit weird. A fake. I'd be a fake. An imposter. Just like Spencer said. Michiko, are you okay? I just, Elliot, you are an idiot. Oh, okay. Why are you even still here? I have every right to be here. As I said earlier, this isn't a private issue since I'm likely to get dragged into it if something happens to her. Something happening to her isn't a problem just because it might involve you. But that's the question I was answering. It's not for that. If not for that, I wouldn't be here. What are people to you? This is a classmate you're talking about. Shouting is hardly necessary. Just leave them to argue without you? Yell at them both? To be honest, I am drained. I'm drained. I'm too drained for this. I sighed inwardly. The arguing wasn't going to stop, was it? I wonder if this is how people feel when they listen to me. Then again, I wasn't usually trying to aim smarts at others in a directly insulting way. Honestly, Elliot was perfectly likable, so I had no idea why Mark couldn't get over his snobbery and see that. If he wasn't trying to provoke Elliot, they probably wouldn't be arguing. And if all I was to him was an inconvenience, he could go jump in the bog. I didn't need another idiot male following me around, demanding answers from me. Mark gave me a sidelong look, but I just glared. If you heard that, so much the better. It's time for class. You two can keep arguing if you want, but I'm leaving. I left them there, walking swiftly into the hall. I don't know if that's the correct choice, but whatever. I'm too drained to deal with them. Michiko! Michiko, wait! Please wait! He thundered down the steps behind me and caught my arm. I'm sorry, There you are, Momo. Oh, it's Brenda. Brenda. We both looked up, startled. Brenna was standing at the top step, watching us. Before either of us could answer, the first bell rang. Mark calmly stepped around her and came down the steps. He had my book bag in hand. I believe this is yours. Thank you. And thanks for the hot chocolate, Elliot. And for this morning. I'll walk with you. No, I need to talk to you, Momo. Before he could get up, she practically wrapped herself around him and held him down. But just for a few minutes. He sighed. Then I'll walk with you. No, thank you. I hurried down the stairs alone. I just needed some room to breathe. All this stuff was starting to feel like it was suffocating the life out of me. Mark being overbearing and rude wasn't helping at all, but neither was the rest of it. Classes were a bit of a blur. Literature dragged on because Allie could tell something was wrong and I didn't want to talk about it. It didn't help that Mark was right behind us and I could practically feel his eyes boring in the back of my head. Elliot came in a little late and slinked into his seat, casting a worried glance my way. I spent the entire class trying to act totally normal when nothing was normal at all. When the bell rang, I grabbed my things and quickly headed to the hallway. Michiko, wait! I sighed and stepped off to one side where I couldn't be buffeted into oblivion by the crowd. Ali caught up to me, her expression worried. What's wrong? I can't really talk about it here. It's just stuff. When I head up to the club room to chat, I really can't afford to miss class. Are you sure? I can get us a note. I don't want to. I exhaled slowly, trying to calm down. Behind Ali, I saw Elliot and Danny pass by. He shot me a worried glance, but I looked away. There's been a lot happening lately, and it's kind of hard to balance that in school. I'll be fine. It's a 3-day weekend, so I'll take some time to clear my head. I really want to get through the day without having to think about the club anymore, okay? Okay. I shot her a forced smile and started off to my next class. Part of me wanted to come clean with her with everything. She might even know more about fairies than Elliot or Mark, but it wasn't just my secret anymore. Because of the sleepwalking, I knew about theirs, and I didn't want to risk revealing to her what they were doing. I slammed my locker door shut inside. Chemistry and trig had been painfully awkward. I was still so angry at Spencer, but what was I supposed to do about it? This is where I'm gonna stop for today because my throat is really killing me. And we had a long episode last time, so it's fine. It's whatever. I don't know where this story is going at all. I know my girl eventually has to confess to Ali about everything because they had to somehow keep me in my room. I don't know how they're going to do it. And on top of that, I have to also reply back to Elliot's feelings as my girl has completely forgotten that it's happening all on the same day. This day is just rough for her entirely. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
touch it, touch it down.